You know, when we're in our 20s and even some of our 30s, we like to think that we know everything. And I say that at 48. I say that at 48 years old, I say that was me. And I don't know how many people I've known since that feel the same way. Maybe I was a little worse because uh, being state raised, no mom, no dad, no nothing, being state raised, and everything I had was in a shoebox when I got sent from facility to facility. So whatever I had in that little shoebox is all I owned and had, and I got bossed around and told what to do. And when you get out of that and you leave that, you make a decision that you're not going to let nobody tell you what to do, whether it's give you advice. Even you shut everything down. But the true honest to God true intelligence is when you stop to think and do more listening than you do speaking. I used to hear that all the time. I thought it was just a phrase that people would throw in there, but it's actually not. If you stop and break it down, what it actually means to stop and listen to somebody. Sometimes when you're in an argument with somebody, if you let them do most of the talking, you'll find if they're in the wrong, they'll come full circle back around and realize something they just said, and they'll realize themselves that they're wrong. They'll realize that they made a mistake. They'll realize that, they hung themselves. They put the noose literally around their neck and pulled on it themselves. And that's the truth about life. Sometimes we so quick to run up and stick our head in the noose, thinking that we're not going to hang ourselves. And once you got your head in there, if you would have stopped and looked around and saw everything, you realize that once I stick my head in there, I'm fucked. Earlier, I was driving here in Seattle, Washington, and I was coming to a section where this GPS up here was telling me it was okay to go. And I've learned over the years of experience that GPS can be wrong a lot of times. And sure enough, I slowed my speed down from the legal speed limit of 45 to 30, and I started taking everything in. And you just slow down, and you start looking at everything, and something just didn't feel right. And sure enough, up here on the right, past the intersection, which is kind of crazy that they do shit like that. They put the no trucks sign through the intersection, so you actually will go through the intersection, and before you really get a good view of it if you're not looking for it. It should be on this side to let you know don't go through the intersection. But whatever. Point of the matter being is that if I would have went through that intersection and I wouldn't have saw that little no truck sign up there amongst all the other signs, the bus stop signs and yields and crosswalks and everything else, if I wouldn't have slowed down and took it in a little bit more, I wouldn't have noticed that I shouldn't have went that way. And if I would have went that way, it turns out that was a residential. I just happened to look at it on my Google Maps. I wouldn't have been able to get out of there. I would have had to call the Seattle police, and they would have had to stop traffic and let me back up. And let me tell you something. I've had to do that in San Francisco and New York, and it's an embarrassing feeling. But it's better than running into somebody. So what I'm getting at is that intelligence isn't always about thinking that you know everything and answering everything so quickly. It's about stopping and taking it in and chewing your food a little bit, per se, chewing on your thoughts a little bit, looking at the situation and saying, hey, before I make this decision, don't let me say something that I can't get out of. And one of the other biggest things that I've learned, and it makes me feel a lot more humble. I mean, it's a real deep, humble feeling that I feel, is when I can tell myself, hey, I went off on somebody and I cussed them out and I did this and I did that. That was probably my first mistake, because I still have issues that I'm dealing with, and sometimes if a person crosses me the wrong way, my emotions take over. And if you let your emotions take over, they will do things that you wish you wouldn't have done later, and regrets, and it could get you in a lot of situations. It could get you killed. Just because you come out the motherfucking car like a silverback don't mean that you're going to go back in like one. You might be going back into a pine box. So, it don't matter who you are. It don't matter what set you from. It don't matter. Everybody's got a bullet with their name on it one day if you out there doing dumb shit. Whether it hits you or not, that's up to you, I guess, sometimes. Sometimes it's not, but don't go run in front of it if you don't have to. So what I say is this. this is the biggest thing I wanted you to take out of this, is that the biggest comment or thought to me that shows intelligence is when you actually look at a situation that you went through, or even a situation that you're thinking about going through, and ask the question to yourself, am I wrong? Did I make a decision that was wrong? Did I say the wrong thing? Did I do the wrong thing? Am I at fault for what just happened? And you seriously analyze it. And I can honestly say, in front of God, in front of everybody, that that is exactly how I live my life today, and have for the last few years. Every time I do something and I walk away from an incident, even if everybody said, man, you were right, Cadillac, yeah, you should have done that, you should have did this, you should have, all the things they say, it don't matter if I got 100 people. Let's say there's 100 people in the room, and every one of them 100 people say I was in the right. Well, when I walk out of that room, I may walk out with confidence like I did the right thing, but I promise you the self-talk that I'm having with myself is, was I really right? Yeah, the dominoes fell in my favor today, but was I really right? Could I have done something a little differently? You know, and when you start thinking like that, that's when the intelligence really starts to begin. That's when you start to realize, you know, it don't matter how many people said I was right. I can look at a situation and all 100 people could have said I was right. But after I looked at it, I felt wrong, or I saw wrong, or they may not have known what was in my heart when I made my decision. If they would have known what was in my heart, they wouldn't have agreed that I was right. So everything that you're about to do, whether it be in a relationship, you know, or whether it be business, or whether it be business, you better think twice about it, because a lot of times you will not be able to go back, and that's just a fact. A lot of times I have not been able to go back, and I've had to suck it up, and I've had to tell myself that I didn't care. You know, I told myself that because I knew I fucked up, and I knew that I couldn't get it back anyway. You know, I had an ex-wife that did the same thing. Every time something bad happened and she was wrong, I don't care, whatever, fuck it. I got tired of that shit, and that's why she's my ex-wife. You know, at the end of the day, you better think twice about what it is you're doing, and be ready to live with whatever the consequences are. Don't get upset when the consequences come and act like they're not owed to you. You better embrace them and move on. That's all you can do. So, you know, I just thought I would, you know, record this and put it out there today. Maybe there's somebody need to hear that. Maybe you're about to do something and you're sitting there thinking, and maybe you're not thinking enough.